Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and Manchester City have defeated Chelsea 3-0 at Stamford Bridge, and they take a huge step towards catching Arsenal in that title race. So let's go ahead and talk about this game. If you don't know and if you cannot tell by my face, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm really not happy with the result. But if you're a City fan, you would be really happy with the way that game went. I think it was a typical Pep Guardiola game, a Pep Guardiola game for him. The first half, it was quite okayish. If I'm being very honest with you, I think Chelsea, handled City quite well. City were not, up to that mark. If I'm being very honest with you, up to their standard. It felt like Guardiola was just checking out what Rosnier can do and what Chelsea's plan was, and they really did not have a go at them in that first half. If I'm being very honest with you, and they were quite cautious in their approach. Chelsea, on the other hand, they defended really good. They did not create that many chances. They had a goal disallowed, courtesy of Marco Corella. I think the move was very good, but he was offside, and the goal gets disallowed. But apart from that, Chelsea really did not, threaten City that much, and City themselves, they really did not threaten Chelsea that much. It was sort of a chess match. Both of them are waiting to see what the other team is going to do. This game basically reminded me of that Carabao Cup final, if I'm being very honest. It felt like exactly that the same game. That first half, City were quite cautious. They watched Arsenal to see what Arsenal were going to do, and in that second half, Guardiola did what Guardiola does, and today as well, Guardiola did what Guardiola does, and he tweaked the system. He told his side to be a bit more aggressive. They played with a bit more freedom. There was a bit more urgency in that second half, and Chelsea weren't really able to control them or contain them in that second half. The moment they came on, they were on that front foot. Taking the game to Chelsea, and as I said, Chelsea basically crumbled under the pressure. And that first goal, I knew it. In that Carabao Cup final, after that game, I said as well that the games like this, especially the way that first half went, you just knew that first goal was going to be very important. Whichever team was going to score that goal would have dictated the game of afterwards. And unfortunately for City, and unfortunately for Arsenal as well, it was Manchester City who scored that first goal. Great ball comes in from that right hand side, and Nico O'Reilly, I don't know, he has been a thorn in Arsenal's side recently. Scored a brace at the Carabao Cup final as well, and now today against Chelsea, scores that opening goal, and it becomes 1-0. And the moment it became 1-0, I basically knew, I was like, it's done in that shot, because you could just see that Chelsea had dropped that, and after that they basically did not recover. Instead of trying to get back into the game, they regressed in my opinion. Their performances and individual performances, if you're talking about, it went downhill after that, and City took advantage of that. It felt like a shark smelling blood. The moment you give City an advantage, they are going to take it, and if they see the weakness, if they see that you are there to be taking, they are going to go ahead and they are going to have a go at you, and that's what they did. Gray scores that second goal, 2-0, and that third goal, I mean, it was such a bad goal to concede. Sanchez plays it, tries to play it out of the back, passes it to Caicedo. I don't know what he was thinking during that time. He's surrounded by 3 Manchester City players, and he gives the ball straight to him, and then he gets caught in possession, and Doku scores that third goal. And if I'm being very honest, Chelsea were really lucky that it was only 3-0. It could easily have been 4 or 5-0, and they could have been really humiliated at their own ground. But even now, the difference between Chelsea and Manchester City is miles apart. You can just see the way that they played. It felt sometimes like if you're playing a FIFA with your a younger brother, you give them chance for sometimes, and then you start to play like the way that you want. It felt like that this game was like that. The City were like, okay, Chelsea, let's see what you can do, and then we are going to show what we can do, and that's what happened. City let Chelsea have the fun in that first half, trying to see what they are going to do to them, and Chelsea did not do anything, and then City responded, and they responded in their own way, and it became a 3-0. And They won it comprehensively. Now they are 6 points behind Arsenal. They have a game in hand, and then you know that game next weekend against Arsenal at the Etihad. The standards, no matter what the situation was going to be, were already going to be quite high. After Arsenal's defeat last night, it became even more higher. You know, after Chelsea's win, the stakes are so high. That game basically could decide the title, in my opinion. It cannot, but you know, if City win that game, as much as it hurts me to say it, I personally think they are going to win the title. And if they don't win it, then the title is still going to go down to the wire. But I think that game is so important now. The stakes of that game is going to be so huge, and it will be an amazing occasion to see what happens, whether Arsenal turn up and City, of course, are going to turn up. It's at the Etihad. They have that advantage as well. So that game is so important for in terms of that title picture. As I said before, a win for City and anything, you know, I personally think they are going to be the champions. Chelsea, on the other hand, a big setback to their Champions League hopes. Liverpool won last night. It was a 4-point gap between them and Chelsea after that game, and Chelsea have lost today, so the gap is going to remain there. And the way that Chelsea are playing, I just don't see them qualifying for Europe, qualifying for Champions League. If I'm being very honest, you know, not only for the Champions League, I personally think there could be a scenario where Chelsea don't qualify for Europe because the teams around them, whether it's the Brentfords or the Evertons, you know, or the Bournemouths, all of them are playing better football than Chelsea. And they are, you know, it feels like they have more hunger and more desire than what the Chelsea players have today. I mean, they were so flat, they were so lethargic, there was no urgency in that first half as well. There was a period of 5 to 10 minutes that Chelsea were good, but apart from that, you know, nothing. They did not show anything. There was no what's the word I'm going to use here, there was no some sort of any idea, so an innovation that you know, nobody really stood up and tried to Chelsea, you know, pull Chelsea forward towards the win and try to, you know, make the players around them play better. I think if there is only one player I had to choose from the Chelsea side, it has to be Marco Cucurella. I think he was their best player in the game, and if your left back is your best player in terms of attacking, that just shows how bad you were in that game. And Rosnier, he needs to do something really quickly, otherwise it could turn out to be a disastrous end to the season for them. It's already looking quite bleak, but it can get even worse for them if they somehow don't finish in Europe. I know there's a chance that England might have about 11 teams or 10 teams or 9 teams in Europe, but the way that Chelsea are playing, I still think they could miss out on, you know, on Europe completely. Not only on the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, I still think, you know, there's a big a possibility that Chelsea might not even be in Europe, and they could quite possibly finish outside of the top 10 because the teams around them are playing way better than them, and the point difference between them and the teams around them is like 1, 2, 3 points. So with the 6 games remaining, anything is possible, and they need to do something really quickly. Disastrous night for Chelsea, disastrous night for Arsenal, disastrous weekend for Arsenal, but an amazing weekend for Manchester City. And we now move on to that huge game at the Etihad between Manchester City versus Arsenal. Guys, for me in this video, let me know what you guys thought of the game, what you guys thought of Chelsea's performance, what you guys thought of City's performance. Do you think City have done enough? Do you think City are going to go all the way and break Arsenal hearts yet again, or do you think Arsenal are going to be able to hold their own this time around? And what do you think about Chelsea? Do you think they are going to qualify for Europe or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers before the end of the season, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.